Probably, that's okay. It's not common. Thankfully.
We were thinking.
Okay, good evening again. Mark, I'll call you forward to lead us in the pledge, call the meeting to order, lead the pledge and communication.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Well, as we prepare our hearts for prayer, just a short scripture is probably being read here many, many times. The Apostle Paul, I urge then, first of all, that petitions, prayers, intercession, and thanksgiving be made for all people, for kings and all those in authority, that we may live peaceful and quiet lives in all godliness and holiness. Tonight we are praying for all those in authority, the Goddard City Council. Lord, at the beginning of this new year, we commit the activities, the meetings, and the work of this council to you. You are the unseen guest here tonight, and we address you in prayer as Lord and God. We are thankful for this governing body and for our community. May the decisions made here ensure the greater good for the people blessed to live in this city. We especially ask you for help on behalf of Amanda and Corey, the newest members of the council. Give them wisdom and godly perspective as they discharge their duties. Bless us with your presence now. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen.
Thank you, Okay, here we go.
Could Council-elect Corey Stir and Amanda White join me? Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States.
I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
And the Constitution of the State of Kansas.
and the Constitution of the State of Kansas.
And faithfully discharge the duties of City Council Member, so help me God.
And faithfully discharge the duties of City Council Member, so help me God.
Congratulations. Seats.
I'll give you a chance if you want to say anything before we get started. I'll give you 60 seconds each. No, just teasing.
I just want to say thank you for everyone that came out tonight. I appreciate everyone's support and just look forward to serving this community.
I'd like to second that and thank my family especially for coming out, and the community for believing in us and what we're here to do for our community. And thank you to Pastor Mark for coming in tonight last minute and saying our prayers. So thank you.
Very good. All right. Time to roll on here. I'll make a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
I second.
Krista seconds. All those in favor say aye.
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 5-0 passes. Okay, we're rolling now. Item E, ex parte, conflict of interest declarations. I'll say some comments because you do that. I'll stick right over. I'm such a hurry to get this meeting over with. I don't know. Okay, we'll do citizen comments. I know that the owner of the newspaper, Paul Rhodes, is here and would like to speak. But 3 minutes, we'll listen, and Paul will let you go first since you're right there. So we'll get this started.
Am I supposed to sign in? Yes.
Please, or.
Please.
If you don't, we probably already know who you are.
Well, that's possible. There, perfunctory. Hey, all right, Honorable Mayor, members of the council, especially the new members of the council. My name is Paul Rhodes. I'm the owner of Times Sentinel newspapers, owner and publisher. I have a partner, Travis Mounts. We've been running the local newspaper for 33 years now. I hope I make it 2 more. That'd be nice to call it quits at 35 years of continuous effort in the same vein. I've actually been in the newspaper business for that. When I hit that mark, it'll be 50 years that I've been employed in newspapers in Kansas and around the country. As most of you are probably aware, Craig Crossett, your city administrator, and I have been working on an agreement between us, the newspaper, and the city, tied to a really important vote that's coming up in 2 weeks. That vote concerns publication of legal notices for the city of Goddard. There's been discussion and a door left wide open for you all to either continue to publish with Times Sentinel newspapers or publish on a website that you're going to use, or both, of course. And that's I believe how the intent of the state law has been bent just a little bit to open that door. I really hope that you guys take a serious look at the agreement that I signed this morning, and well, midday, maybe lunchtime, and kick back over to Craig. I believe Craig got it out to you guys today. Please take a look at that and seriously think about the implications of not continuing to publish with Times Sentinel newspapers, because of how important that is. I believe to publish those legals in our paper is the way that the path that needs to be gone back down. Just like it's been for the 33 years I've been doing it, and probably decades before that. I know you don't just do things because you've been doing it forever, but this is a little different. This forever has precedence in Kansas statutes and really needs to be thought through. We're offering now, through that agreement that Craig and I have been working on for a while now, we're offering those legals to continue to be published in our newspaper for a fraction of what the regular legal rate is. We can do that because of the volume that you all are doing and have been publishing with us. That document spells out a minimum of certain numbers of column inches and things like that. I'm not going to get into those kind of details. You all will have that in front of you and every opportunity to ask questions about that. We've also negotiated with Craig to hold those rates the same for 2 years, 2 full years from this point moving forward. If you accept this agreement in 2 weeks, it shows how strongly we believe legal notices need to be published in your local newspaper and as intended under state law, and readily accessible, of course, by anyone in the community. They can go where we pick them up. They can buy a subscription. It is absolutely, completely accessible. It's at that level of transparency that we need to continue. We genuinely believe that. Within the next few days, I'm going to email each and every one of you with a more detailed look and explanation of why this agreement between the City of Goddard and Times Sentinel newspapers is the right choice for Goddard and for its residents. I believe that's a way for me to reach out to each one of you before you take a look at this vote that you've got coming up in 2 weeks. And really, I hope I can, in that email, help better understand the kind of break we're offering you guys, because there's nothing that says we have to do that, but we want to be able to do that.
We're past the 3 minutes, but.
And I'll shut up.
No, that's fine.
All right.
I gave you an extra time.
I can answer any questions now, but honestly, I think if you guys give me 2 or 3 days to shoot you everybody here an email, you'll have every opportunity to ask me any questions you want to ask, and I'll immediately get back to you.
That's great.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
You bet.
I just want to say that we appreciate the years of service of the paper to the community. You report things in an honest and straightforward way, and from what I've seen being from the bench, you've really been fair to the city and telling our story. I just want to thank you for that. Probably shouldn't have said that because I'm not supposed to talk, but I can't help myself sometimes. So.
There you go. There you go. I appreciate the comments and for the support. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you, Paul.
Okay, next batter.
Hello, my name is Jim Coldwell. I live in the Spring Hill Addition. I was walking around today and I noticed that for several months there's been a fire hydrant. It's been covered and noted as inoperable. I talked to the guy that lives in that area, actually it's in his house. He said it's been at least 6 months that's been inoperable. The closest fire hydrant's about a half a block away. I called and talked with a Nick up here a couple weeks ago. He said that a pumper truck would be able to reach all the houses. It's a pretty good sized cul-de-sac that's on. Well, you know, with all due respect, when you go apply for insurance, for your homeowner's insurance, they don't ask about the capacity of a pumper truck. They ask about the vicinity of a working fire hydrant. And I understand that's on the agenda. I guess right now I'd like to know, when is it going to get fixed? Is it within due time?
When you get a chance to after the meeting, you can talk to anybody over here.
Okay, well,
answers.
I'll call tomorrow. But
Yeah.
I'm
Appreciate that, yeah.
Appreciate that. I'll let it in.
Very good.
Diane, please.
It was Jim.
Jim Coldwell.
Coldwell?
Thank you.
Evening, Mayor, council members. I'm Linda Giesman, and I live at 201 North Pine, just down the street here. And first of all, I'd like to welcome the freshmen council members. I think you'll find the other council members will be a pleasure to work with. I know it's been a pleasure for me to get to know them. Throughout the last, let's see, 2 years for you? No, a year. You've been in here a year, haven't you? It's been 2.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Oh, it does, George, and we can have lots of it. So, as far as the paper here, as you know, thanks to a lot of hard work from Amanda Treadwell and Karen Keaton, we have, last I heard, over 600 seniors that are impacted by Goddard. As a senior myself, my first place to go to get information sometimes is the internet, but as tonight, as I tried to bring down the agenda on my phone, it wouldn't bring it down. So, where do I go? I go to hard copies. A lot of seniors who are older than me, that's their source. And if you're going to have an honest and transparent publication of legal notices, I can't see where you can leave the paper out because of the senior community. Now, if we had 100 people, maybe you could justify it. But we've got over 600 who are affected by Goddard business. So I just can't see where you can ignore them and the way they get their news. So I would like to put a plug in for keeping the contract with the paper. I come to quite a few of the meetings, and you'll have to ask them. But I try not to be a thorn in their flesh, but more supportive as much as I can. I don't always agree with the votes, but I am here to help support you in what you do, because this is my community for over 30 years, and I've grown to love it, and I've grown to love the people here, and it's home. So I look forward to this next year and everything that you all will be doing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Linda.
Thanks, Linda.
Hello, Mayor, City Council, and staff. My name is Amanda Treadwell, 410 Richards Road. As you move forward with consideration of finalists for the comprehensive plan, I'd like to briefly emphasize 2 priorities that I believe are critical to the long-term success of this process and to the future of Goddard. First, I strongly encourage the council to ensure that community engagement is not reduced or shortened in this process. Hours dedicated to public input, stakeholder workshops, focus groups, and resident engagement are not optional extras. They are a critical foundation of the successful comprehensive plan. Engaging our residents, taxpayers, business owners, and community stakeholders early and often builds trust, strengthens transparency, and creates community buy-in. That buy-in is what leads to a long-term support and a smoother implementation process and a stronger civic engagement as our city grows. This investment of time up front will save challenges later. Second, I ask that that the council clearly define and prioritize the time and effort dedicated to evaluating our current industrial park and exploring opportunities for its growth. Attracting larger employees and expanding our industrial park and the business space is essential to the long-term city stability. A strong industrial and business sector helps diversify revenue, eases pressure on residential taxpayers, and supports sustainable growth for Goddard. I appreciate your time and consideration and the important elements as you move forward with the comprehensive plan discussions. Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Amanda.
Amanda.
Anyone else? Last chance. All right, we'll close citizen comments. Thank you for those that spoke this evening. Now, item E, ex parte communication declaration. You had any conflicts visiting with anybody?
Not
Taking it
me.
from you? Okay, we have this in, so we're good. On to appointments, proclamations, recognitions, and nominations. Assistant City Administrator, Ryan Schratt. Here we go.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. We have, as you recall, we initially set up the Goddard Senior Citizens Advisory Board with staggered terms of 1, 2, and 3 years. So our first 1 year term board members are up for renewal. Terry has graciously agreed to serve another term. So now that she's finishing her initial term, it'll be a standard 3-year term. So it'll go from January of 2026 through January of 2029. Sheila Grayson was the other 1-year term, and we thank her for her service to the board and her continued service to the community and the senior center, but she has decided not to seek another term. And so we do have an open board position that we'll bring to you later this month to fill that opening. But this is just the renewal for Terry. So any questions? I'll be able to answer those. But again, it'll be a 3-year term.
You need to vote to approve this?
Yes.
Okay.
I make a motion to reappoint Terry Zupke for the Senior Citizens Advisory Board, term to expire January 2029. Second.
Christus made a motion, Amy seconds. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. Next item.
You have the.
Yeah.
I was gonna say you have the flag.
Guess I'll do this.
Yeah, I'll turn it over to the mayor, but we are here for the 2025 Volunteer of the Year Award.
Come on, Pam, don't be shy.
I am very shy, you know.
Yeah, I know. That's why I had to ask you. I just want to, on behalf of the city, thank you for all the volunteer efforts that you put into this last year. I know you're the co-chair of Goddard Women's Club, you run TOPS, and you spent countless hours working in the community garden. Now, there's some plots in the community garden that were for just people in the public. But somebody had to take care of those through the summer. And I think every time I drove by there, Pam was over there working in the garden. And just so appreciative of all your efforts and work. I know that Malloy said you probably should deserve an award for being a kindergarten teacher that probably has tied more shoes than whatever. So we can add that to the list. But thank you so much for all your service to our community. Congratulations. We've got a really good paper here.
Oh, there.
Oh, here.
There we go.
There.
All right.
Got it.
Well, I just want to say thank you. I feel very honored and humbled to be named the Volunteer of the Year. And it's been a privilege working with all of the people in our community to help make Goddard a better community. And there's always people that need help everywhere we go. So I'm just very thankful that I can step in when I can to help others when and where they need the help. So anyway, thank you very much.
And she tied all those shoes before they had Velcro.
I know.
Okay, next. Appointments and recognition. Appointments here.
Honorable Mayor and City Council, Craig Crossett, your City Administrator. It's my distinct pleasure to have a brief discussion with you regarding our annual appointments to the different regional associations with which we partner to work on initiatives that advance our community and those around us forward. So we have the Regional Economic Area Partnership, that's REAP. Happy to provide that Mayor Lieb has been appointed by the REAP board as the chair of the entire organization for the next year. So we are looking for another city council delegate who may like to participate in those meetings as well. I go as I can. They do meet at the same time as our community chamber luncheon, so Ryan and I typically trade off going to REAP because there are many appointed officials there that are helping move some of these missions forward. So if any of you would like to be a part of REAP, they have luncheons from 11:30 to 1 p.m. once a month.
Quarterly now, we've kind of changed the schedule. So.
Quarterly?
Quarterly. 4 times a year.
So we will make sure that those are on your calendar and you are able to go. Maybe now that they're quarterly, we might be able to have some more council folk who can come. So the other one is the Sedgwick County Association of Cities, SCAC. That one is a group of elected and appointed officials in Sedgwick County. There's 19 of us cities, believe it or not. Some are big and some are small. We meet on a quarterly basis on Saturdays. Second Saturday?
The second Saturday of the month from 8:30 to 10.
And those rotate around. This next one will be in Bel Air. We actually hosted the last one at Blackstock Bay Indoor Water Park, and hopefully the next year or two we'll be able to host in one of the new meeting rooms in one of our new facilities. So Councilwoman Hall is our primary delegate to SCAC. However, others are welcome to join in that one as well. I'll make sure that those are on your calendar too. Then the other one is the South Central Kansas Transportation Coalition. That is a group that needs to collaborate and advocate for regional transportation priorities in South Central Kansas. So over the last few years, that group hasn't been great at having formal policy and following it as far as voting, and you know, this community gets 2 votes. That's how it's supposed to work, but something that we have advocated for moving forward as they do start to utilize their policy a little bit better and be a little less informal. So we assume that Mayor Lee would want to continue being a voting delegate there. However, another city council person would like to be, they can, or we could send a city staff delegate to vote on our behalf too. So obviously the big regional transportation priority that we are advocating for is the Northwest Expressway, as well as the West Kellogg expansion projects, which eliminates the traffic signalization at 119th and 135th along US 54. And I would say that we did a pretty darn good job of that in the last fiscal year, as those were ranked as the 1 and 2 priority projects at the KDOT consult. So that opportunity is available as well. Again, I'll make sure it's on your calendar. And then we have one more, didn't make the list, the Wichita Area Metropolitan Planning Organization. We like our acronyms in local government. That one we call WAMPO. It's a little bit similar to SCKTC. However, with WAMPO, I think we get around $15 to $20 million from the federal government, and that group's responsibility is to see to the equitable distribution of those funds to the different local governments that are within the WAMPO region. Goddard has not always been represented there over the years, just weren't participating the way we should, but we have in the last few years. We have several projects in the queue. Mayor has also been appointed as the vice chair to the Transportation Policy Body, and I was appointed to the Technical Advisory Committee. So this one's more information only, just to let you know that we're at the table, we're advocating for Goddard, and we hope to get some projects funded in the near future. Mayor, you're at a lot of these meetings, so if you have something to add to that, I'd be grateful. If not, we can move on.
I just think it's important that people understand that, especially like at WAMPO, they're cutting up a pie every year, paying for road and street projects in all the communities in the ring around Wichita, including Wichita. And because we have not had any representation there, or limited representation over the last 15 years, we haven't seen any money. And so hopefully with our involvement, and I know we've done some major work. Tina did a lot of work on the Sidewalks to Schools project. That's a new project that hopefully we'll see some funding for sidewalks around our schools, and hopefully in the next, before we enter the next century, maybe we'll see some, I'm talking about a $4.5 to $5 million street project that could be spent on to extend Crown Drive, could be spent on 183rd widening and putting turn lanes in. I mean, all the other communities in the ring around Wichita have that support, and we, I think, I'm not asking for all of it, but I think we deserve a turn and get a portion of our plate of porridge. So I think it's important. I think our community is, is respected for all the things that have happened here in the last 2 years. I mean, there's a lot of change in terms of the road work that's been done, the planning that we've done, and being involved in the county and in these organizations will only benefit our community. That's the whole purpose. So that's my 2 cents worth on that.
Okay, I spoke to some of you individually. It sounds like there could be some interest. The main thing I'll make sure I do is I get these on your calendar. Just let me know if you want to go. Thank you.
Okay, Public Works staff promotions. Jason.
Good evening, Council. It's my honor and pleasure to have the opportunity to promote 2 of our employees that I think has done a fantastic job. Since I've come to Goddard, the crew here has been an absolute pleasure to work with. They are just absolutely phenomenal. And the 2 gentlemen that we're getting ready to promote, I believe, has led that crew and that charge to make the department what it is. I personally don't like to take credit for things. They've done all the work. I've come in and rode the coattails of these gentlemen, and I greatly appreciate them. So I'd like to acknowledge at this point Dick Ball, who's going to be our new Assistant Public Works Director. He's very deserving of it. Nick started with the city in June 2019. There it is. He started in June of 2019 and has developed a vast knowledge of the department throughout his time here. He's been a great support to me, working through all this developing of my own knowledge of this city. Without his help, there's a lot of things that I just would not know. He's been very gracious in sharing that information, that knowledge. He is very respected amongst his peers and works favorably to ensure the department moves in a progressive and forward nature. Nick has already been fulfilling some of these duties. At one point, he was in the interim for a couple of weeks, so he got a very strong taste of what it's like to be in a position of this nature. I would like Nick to come up and be recognized for his new title and the fact that we're starting out the new year strongly with some strong leadership. So Nick, congratulations on your promotion.
Trust in me. Thank you to administration and all the office staff who have supported me through all these transitions and answered all my questions and been patient with me. And I couldn't have done any of this without Public Works. So thank you all.
So up next is I would like to really show appreciation to George. George started in the city in 2016. He's been an invaluable employee. Without him, he's been very hard driving. Our crew was in the middle of doing the 2,000 linear feet of water main. When I came here, at one point we decided that we may look into having a contractor come in and finish the work, and George was like, no, we are finishing this work. We will get it done. And George really made the push to make sure it was done and done correctly. Like I said, George is very invaluable to this community and to the city as a whole. I consider him a core employee, and he's already been considered a leader amongst his peers. And at this time, I would like to have him come up and congratulate him in becoming the new Public Works foreman.
Everybody, I want to thank Craig, thanking you, Nick, and my family.
So I'd like to again thank these gentlemen, and I'm really looking forward to 2026 and see how we progress and how we move forward.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on the agenda, item G. You can be quiet for a minute. I want to entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda from this side of the desk.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I second.
Corey's made the motion, Amanda second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Congratulations, you're in the game. Got your name there. Get your name in the minutes and everything
Official
else.
now?
That's right, you're on board. No unfinished business or old business. That moves us on to item I1, comprehensive plan discussion.
Good evening again, Mayor and Council. Just a quick overview of how we got to where we are tonight. Okay, there we go. So again, the comprehensive plan, the current plan expired at the end of last year, at the end of 2025. And so according to that schedule, put together an RFP, a request for proposal, that was approved by the previous city council in November, and then opened for publication on November 4th. With interested firms, they were required to submit their proposals by December 5th of 2025. Work is scheduled to commence on the new plan early this year, with the plan that final adoption will take place sometime in early 2027. So as you'll recall, we did receive 4 proposals from interested firms in response to the comprehensive plan RFP. The 4 firms did give presentations in December, And from there, 2 finalists were selected, Olson and House-Hill Levine. Virtual follow-up interviews were also conducted by city staff. Those were shared with members of the, members of the Planning Commission and City Council to address some follow-up questions. And then these 2 firms were also asked to resubmit a cost and fee schedule based on a total project hours of between 700 and 1,000. And so the revised schedules, those were included in the agenda packet this evening. Next slide. Thank you. And that analysis is provided for you here. I realize that's very small text, but you do have that in the staff report. Thank you. So again, we have this for both Olson and House-Hill Levine. Olson's original proposed cost, that was a total of $250,000, with the total number of project hours being just over 1,300. With the updated proposed cost and hours, that new cost is just over 155,000, and the hours reduced to 928 hours. Again, I will note that, I know it's very small there, but as in the agenda packet, a lot of the engagement has been preserved with Olson, so you do have a number of open houses, in-person interviews and work sessions and workshops. We do still have the planning and design charrette. And again, along with the interviews at the end, Olson does plan on being at the public hearing for both the Planning Commission and City Council for adoption of the plan at the end. So again, engagement is being preserved as part of their updated proposal. With House-Hill Levine, again, their original proposed cost was just under 176,000 with a total hours of 1,090. The updated proposed cost was just over 141,000 with a 690 to 740 hour range for the total project hours. Staff does note that in their proposal that they are eliminating a lot of the public engagement, which is concerning to us. This has been shared with City Council. Both of the updates have been shared with City Council, with all of you and the Planning Commission. But again, with their drawback, their proposal, they did cut a considerable portion of the direct engagement with the public, as well as the proposed steering committee and the governing body as well. Again, no, next slide, thank you. Again, this is nothing to be considered tonight. Again, the final cost of this project will be approved by City Council when the firm is selected and a contract has been negotiated, including the overall project cost. So again, we do not have a finalized cost as of tonight, next slide. This is just discussion only, no action required at this time. City Council had requested some additional time to review the 2 proposals, to look at other work that these 2 firms have done in both our immediate area in Kansas and the country as well. So again, this is just discussion this evening between the 5 of you. Staff is more than happy to answer any questions that you might have at this time that we haven't answered yet. But I would say that staff would love if you could come to a consensus tonight and recommend a firm that we can change this from discussion only to perhaps another formal action to be voted on to allow staff to enter into contract negotiations should you feel that you're ready. If not, the plan would be that we address this at the next City Council meeting on January 20th, continue to review the proposals, and then at that time ask Council to make a decision on who they would like us as City staff to enter into contract negotiations with, and then bring that contract back for final approval at a future City Council meeting. And with that, I will turn it over to the 5 of you for discussion.
I know one of the things that, I don't know if we've done in detail enough yet, would be to maybe talk to some of the other communities that have used these 2 firms. I do have an inside track with Leewood, and they're doing a pretty large, I think their contract was $300,000. Of course, they're one of the largest budgeted communities in the state of Kansas. But I know that they're real happy with the work that they're having done by Olson, and I know there were a couple other communities we talked about getting a hold of.
Yeah, I believe, excuse me, Mayor, City of Newton and City of Andover utilize them as well, so we're gonna be checking in with them.
Okay.
They're local, obviously.
So anyway, that's just one of my thoughts at this point.
I think it was important for me to note that I also was a little concerned by the amount of hours that was cut out of Haziel's second budget to us. And I mean, first I want to thank both of them for working through the holidays and getting this to us so quickly. Just taking a look at that though, I had a little bit of a concern that they cut that amount of hours, and it was a lot of like workshop kits for us to do, but I felt like the cost didn't really reflect the amount of work that they had cut out. I think that's probably worth noting. I also liked that Sharon Woods was a part of Olson's. I think that would be a really great tool for our community.
Mayor, one thing I noticed is when we asked Housel to relook at their hours, they came down a lot, but really, when you look back at Olson's, they really came into the comparable hours to Housel's original proposal. So when I look at these two plans, I don't see us going with, if we go with Housel at all, I don't see us going with their reduced plan because of how much they stripped out the community engagement piece. And we're all aware that I don't believe any of us want to cut the community involvement piece. So I really see it as either we look closely at taking the House of Levine's original proposal, which is in the 900 to 1,000 hour range, or when you look at Olson's, they're now in the same 900 to 1,000 hour range for a similar price if we include the Sharon Woods piece. And one thing I'll follow up with is I did reach out to Craig, and he was able to get a hold of Olson because I was concerned their discovery of phase 2 came down substantially in hours from, I believe it was 306 hours down to 90 hours. But they did note, and correct me if I'm wrong, Craig, but they noted most of that was pulled out for the Sharon Woods as an option, and the other part was pulled out by using a lot of our recent data that we've already done as part of the CIP and water studies. So I think it's a really competitive offer now. I was not expecting Olson to be as competitive with Housel, but in my mind I'm seeing it as either Housel's original proposal or Olson's new proposal with the Sharon Woods option.
I agree with that, with Housel's original proposal versus versus their current proposal. It is definitely more competitive with Olson and comparative as well.
I just don't think it would make any sense to go with the new proposal for Housel. Like, that community engagement is a really big piece, just like Amanda said. Like, that has to be, to me, it's the #1 most important piece of it. And so I just don't think we do it without it. I do think that both the plans we would get with the original Housel and the new Olson, we would get a really great plan put together. Some of the things I really liked about both of them was that they talked a lot about subdivision regulations and how that drives quality. So I learned a lot from both of these organizations, and so I really appreciated listening and participating in this effort. I liked that they both had an implementation matrix that would make it very easy for us to make future decisions. Not even if it wasn't us on this board that was making decisions, maybe say 6 or 8 years from now. This is a 10-year plan, so that implementation matrix is, as long as we continue to follow it, it's going to be something we can use and will drive those decisions. I will say, when we're talking about a community engagement, one thing that I wrote in my notes was that we can really, really want community engagement at this side of the table.
Yes.
But the only way that this really works and that we get a plan that works for all of Goddard is if the community engages in the community engagement. This plan is a 10-year plan, and it will, like I said, drive the decisions that this board and the city makes for the next 10 years. And if it's done right and the community engages in every single opportunity that they can, like, we won't have to be up here wondering what to do with X land, because that's gonna be all spelled out. We're gonna know what does our community want us to build, and where do they want us to build it, and how do they want us to build it. And so I say, like, for me, the biggest thing is that the community engages in this in every single opportunity that they can. You have to come, it's a year-long process plus. So you can't come once and then just kind of get bored with it. You have to be engaged you have to be committed, engaged for the whole year and a half with us.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm begging at this point that to please engage with us, whoever gets this, whoever, you know, we decide to choose. So those were kind of my big things, is that I just wanted to make a plea to the community to work with us.
And if I may, Mayor, number one, I just wanted to preface for the community as we're up here talking about these plans and Sharon Woods, and I think my importance for that is Sharon Woods is somebody that is partnered with Olson, and basically what she would do is come in and talk about our economic strategies and our housing strategies and what that would look like. And so I think that that's really important to notate, but also, you know, this is a big investment for our community. So I just think it's also worth noting that I think that a few meetings ago, before elections, and I was sitting out there, this is the exact thing that the community was asking for is, I think we heard a lot of, it's not about the growth, it's having a very clear plan, and I think that no matter which one we go with, this is exactly what that will do. This will give us a very clear plan to follow.
I know one of my concerns, we've talked a little bit about the possibility of paying for half of this year, the other half next year, so that'll take a little bit of pressure off the budget. I think that coming to a definition in the community of what a townhome or a duplex is, and some of the ideas that these two companies will bring to bear, I think will have a dynamic impact on the type of housing that will be built here in the future as we continue to strive for industrial projects and things as well. So we get this right, I mean, it sets a clear direction for the Planning Commission. They follow the plan, and then when we approve what they presented to us, and maybe we can have quarterly meetings with them that are discussing projects and not what the definition of a duplex is. So, and I think it's important. I mean, those of us that are going to live here for a long time, you know, we have concerns, and you know, BlackRock or whatever large corporation, do they own properties here in major chunks, or are we still pretty much predominantly owned by local people? I know there are several investors that have multiple single-family homes that are rentals, and that's another issue I think that we need to deal with. So I think we've got two good companies. I think we need to continue to, you know, finish out our due diligence, and I would agree that taking Olson's second plan and Housel's first plan would be the two to compare against. So I think we're probably all in agreement on that if I'm reading everybody. So how's that for a little bit of direction?
I would also say that I'm very interested in what Sharon Woods brings to the table. Yes. Like that's a really big, like, lean, that has me really leaning in that area, because only Olson works with her, and so I think that that's a very important piece that our community needs, is that study.
I agree with that.
I think it's worth the investment.
And not just talking about mixed density or whatever that looks like for us, but exactly, you know, they touched on what does low income look like for Goddard, what does our development look like, and not just saying we're going to throw mixed density in there, but what does that look like specifically tailored to us. So.
A lot of really great data. I love data. I love database decisions, and what she brings is really good data. Mm-hmm. So I'm.
And I'll add that the mayor of Leawood is very impressed with her work. So. In fact, that they were going to contract for her to do some other things that they're working on. So I think she comes pretty highly recommended. Anything else?
Mayor, I'll just note that prior to these updated proposals, diving into the ones they've done for similar cities like you mentioned and seeing what their actual comp plans look like, I believe they were very comparable, and Housel, Olson, both of them, what they deliver looks good. It's, I think what you're hinting at and what I think is important is what do they like to work with, because like I said, prior to these updated ones, I thought Housel for the money would give us similar end product, but looking at the fact that now we're, I think, 8 or 9% difference in cost if we go with Olson with the option for Sharon Woods. I mean, I think that little bit extra might be worth it if they really are better to work with and can deliver the product.
I just felt like in the proposal from Olson, in their presentation to us, and then in the interview, they were definitely more people focused. You know, and if people are happy where they live, then more people will come, and that will drive the economic piece of it as well. I did think that Housel Levine was very good in their presentation, and then in the interview, I also learned a great deal from them. A very reputable company. I myself I'm a people person, so Olson is very attractive to me at this point.
I would agree with that sentiment.
I agree.
And I liked about Olson is that one of the questions that we asked them when they were here was would they be willing to accept other work that we have done to bring down the cost. And so when they gave us the updated estimate, that's exactly what they did. They, according to the follow-on question that Corey asked, their response was they took the money out of Discovery because of the work that we had already done. They basically did exactly what we asked them to do, which was take that money from that area and count the work that we've already done to limit their Discovery option, which is that's what they did when they adjusted the plan. So I really liked that. It made me feel like they listened to the questions that we asked them when they were here and adjusted their plan accordingly. Not that Housel Levine didn't. I think that they already had a plan at first that was good.
Their original
plan was
their
good
original
already.
proposal was good.
But yes.
Anything else?
No.
We good? Ready to move on to the next item on the agenda? Okay.
It's working now.
It's working now, good. Everything works for Brooke, so.
Yes.
Okay, this next agenda item is the KDHE waste tire grant proposal. And before I start off with this, I want to give credit where credit is due. One of our brand new employees, I don't even think she's been with us a month, has taken the initiative to ask, would it be okay if I write a grant, because I've done these before and it's available and it's time to write it if we were interested in it. And I was like, Craig, what do you think? And he's like, yes, go for it. So we put her to work. Stephanie Guy's her name. I guess I should say that Stephanie Guy's her name. She's our new utility billing customer care clerk, and obviously she's doing very well right out of the gate. So she brought us this grant proposal, and what this is annually KDHE grant supports purchases of outdoor products made from recycled tires. Eligible uses would be items like ADA compliant benches, picnic tables, and playground services. The city's intent is to apply for this grant to replace some of our deteriorated park benches that we have already out there. Stephanie did take initiative to actually go look at all of our stuff and take pictures, so you can see some of the dilapidated situations we had around town, which I wasn't aware of this even. So you can see all of these different benches and tables in our parks that would need replaced. We have determined that through this grant we would like to apply to get 24 additional tables, 21 benches. These would be throughout Linear Park, Means Park, at the pool, and then we probably, after North Park gets built, we would probably relocate some of these out there as well.
This is an annual grant, so we can come back annually and apply for more if we want. And again, this is going to be a 50-50 match. This is the products that we would be looking at purchasing. Everything's made from recycled tires and plastics and all of that stuff. You can see that they have ADA compliant tables and as such, and you know, these are really heavy duty, very sturdy. I believe Craig has experience working in Sterling with this product, and you know, they're really nice. Financial considerations: the total project cost for all of these benches and tables is $42,686. The direct material costs were $39,915. City would be responsible for 50% of that cost. KDHE would be responsible for the rest. We did factor in an in-kind contribution of labor and the use of a skid steer, so that got our matching contribution up over 50%, which is favorable also to KDHE if we get this grant. Total contributions from the city would be around $22,728. We would allocate 75% of this cost towards our temp note and Fund 88 that we have for the North Park, and the rest would come from the general fund. Legal considerations: this grant agreement, application has not been reviewed by our city attorney yet, but we will have him review that if we're awarded the grant. Tonight we're recommending, staff recommends the City Council authorize submission of the KDHE 2026 waste tire grant application to the KDHE, and if awarded, allow us to apply our matching funds and pending legal review. I think we should throw that in there.
Are you any questions before we?
I don't have any questions. I just think it's great that Stephanie went out and did this assessment and said, hey, can I write a grant out of nowhere? I love that initiative and that out of the box thinking of like, how can we do it? So just lots of props to Stephanie and all the work and time that she spent to do this. So
she worked with Alan too. Our park staff. So he should get credit as well.
I love it that they did that together.
Yeah.
Awesome. Look at her getting the ground running.
Just noting how amazing these benches would be for all of our city events. And we talk about bringing all those people in and what that looks like. So I think that this is a really great thing.
We were going to purchase these things anyway at North Park, and now we will remove those out of that project cost. So again, it's a cost savings, definitely.
Mayor, can I make a quick shameless plug?
Sure.
I think it's lost on many, including myself, until I thought about it more. It may seem a little odd to be purchasing over 20 benches and picnic tables, but we're going to be building basically 3 brand new parks this year. When you consider the North Park, the park we're obligated to build in Rustic Creek, and then the $150,000 park we've budgeted for at Means Park with the replacement of all the existing equipment over there. So this is a huge need, and it was actually unidentified until Stephanie had brought it up, so it should be good.
Well, if I can add something,
Sure.
the exact amount that we're purchasing is the exact amount I rented for Fall Fest.
Wow.
And each one of those was used at Fall Fest. I've got pictures proving, so we needed tables in that park.
So think of the cost we're saving every single year.
Exactly.
What we could do with those funds to contribute somewhere else to make the events even better.
And I like the accessibility for people who need that also. Good job, Stephanie. Good job, Craig, for hiring.
No, Brooke.
Oh, Brooke. Good job, Brooke, for hiring. Fine,
It was a team.
And Alan for helping. And
Alan, yes.
all right.
We have a good team.
I'll entertain a motion to approve this.
I make a motion to approve that staff recommends that the City Council authorize submission of the KDHE 2026 waste tire grant application to the Kansas Department of Health and Environment.
I'll second.
Chris makes the motion, cross the table here. Corey seconds. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. Keep rolling.
All right.
It's your show.
Yeah. The next two items are just general housekeeping, items that we do annually, so we'll probably go through these pretty quick. The first one is our 2026 annual appropriations resolution. This is just, a resolution basically stating that the city has adopted a budget and we have financial procedures in place and we plan to follow those. It's a formal mechanism to allocate our budgeted funds for specific purposes. Now, we did this through the budget authority and all of those things, but this is just something that it's a GFOA best practice. You all, I believe it says you've done it since 2009. So it's just, like I said, a housekeeping resolution saying, you know, we are going to follow the budget, follow our financial procedures. One of the things that's important to note here, all expenses, you know, come to council. You see everything. This doesn't take anything out of that. Everything over spending authorities and thresholds are always brought to council. Those situations should never change. So again, nothing's changed since last year. I know this is new for you too, but again, it's kind of just a ceremonial resolution that we all just agree on this.
Let the trumpet sound.
Yeah. Financial, then legal, the resolution has been reviewed and approved as form. Tonight, just adopt our recommendation is to adopt the resolutions and formalize the request to adopt this appropriations resolution, and it would be 2601.
I make a recommendation to formalize the request to adopt proposed annual appropriations resolution.
Dan makes a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Naomi seconds. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. One more time.
All right, so the next one is our annual GAAP accounting waiver. This is a resolution that is required by statute if you are not going to use the GAAP method of accounting. GAAP is generally accepted accounting principles, which require accrual accounting, which is a whole different set of accounting mechanisms that the city does not use. We use cash basis. Most municipalities in Kansas use the cash basis system, especially with people that have staff of very few. Accrual accounting is very time consuming, kind of cumbersome. It takes special staff to accomplish that. GAAP, this is something that you all have done for years and years. Again, Kansas statute says if you're not going to use GAAP, you have to do this annually. So financially, there's nothing related here. The resolution has been reviewed and approved as form. So tonight we would recommend that you adopt the proposed resolution to formalize the request to waive GAAP requirements.
I make a motion to formalize the request to waive GAAP requirements.
We have a motion on the table. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
And we'll give it to Corey.
Yep.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0.
Let's spend some money. I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
Mayor and Council, Team Powell, City Planner. I'm here to present I-5, which is a BHC work order for sanitary sewer GIS mapping. So a little bit of background, as the city grows, asset management has become a topic of concern. Asset management is basically record keeping for all of our infrastructure that we have. That includes sanitary water, lift stations, pump stations, cross connection, roads, etc. So in order to streamline the process of retrieving, sharing, and housing the city's asset information, staff have concluded digital storage is the most efficient option. So Mike Scoggin has been instrumental in getting our GIS system started and upkept. How long ago would that have been, Micah, that you started that?
2019.
So what we have now is basically what has already been implemented. Many cities already have made this transition to online systems that give geospatial information along with attribute tables. So you can have your lat and long, your elevations, You can have record keeping on there, you can have a maintenance schedule on there, there's lots of upgrades you can have. So with the expertise of Micah and our water lead and our Nick Ball and then also our public works department, they have already kind of given a baseline. We've got most of our assets already housed in ArcGIS Online. In an attempt to support this transition to digital storage and relieve some of the workload from city staff and expedite the transition, we've asked VHC to assist us with our GIS mapping of 625 sanitary sewer structures in select locations within the city. So kind of a little background of why we're doing that. The tolerance levels on some of the equipment that we used are not as tight as they could be. VHC has a little bit better upgraded equipment they can use. And then when you have the same people doing the same thing every day, you get a little bit more accurate. So in a nutshell, some of our information we have is accurate, some of it is inaccurate. So we're kind of cleaning up what we have and streamlining it. VHC has given us a discounted rate of $75 a structure during the winter months versus their regular hourly rate of $100 a structure. So that's a cost savings to the city of $15,625 on the 625 identified structures. So the total cost, you can't see down there at the bottom very well, but the total cost to the city would be $51,875. So this is a description of the work order and scope of services, the deliverables that we will be getting with that fee. Those are highlighted. The ones, let's see, so like where the circles are, those are the highlighted structures, manholes that they will be gathering data from. So on the structures you can see over here, this is everything they will be collecting, and then on the pipes, this is all the data they will be collecting. So they'll deliver that to a vector file for the city, which we can import directly into our GIS online. And then, yeah, so they're going to have a GIS database setup fee of $5,000 and then the $75 reduced rate per structure. So financials $51,875, allocated to the sewer reserve fund, and the work order has been reviewed and approved as to form. And any questions?
The sewer reserve fund is healthy.
It's very healthy. So, yeah. So one of the reasons we wanted to bring this to you, obviously it's a great project that they've identified that it's a cost savings. The only issue is it wasn't budgeted for. So we need to bring those to you and let you know, do we want to take money from the sewer reserve fund to handle this with the cost savings that we're considering. Our sewer fund is very healthy, the sewer reserve fund is very healthy. We have plenty of money to absorb this cost. If we were to do it next year, we would budget for it, and we'd be paying more. So it's either save the money today, pay for it today, or budget for it next year with the potential of additional cost. So I thought we'd let you guys decide whether or not you wanted to purchase it, do something unbudgeted funds.
Well, and I'd also like to add too, not as far as like the total bill to be paid, but streamlining this system and kind of upgrading it saves a lot of waste that we have in the city. Waste in the form of inaccurate data shared, as far as like with development for designers, helping expedite, when development comes into the city, investors, letting them know where our lift station is, what the capacity is, how far away are they from a water main, what size is it. It helps with a lot of these preliminary budgeting discussions if we can tell them exactly at a fingertip, at a screen, where our assets are. Previously, some of our assets had been housed in paper records, in plan sets. They'd also been housed in, historical information from a person, and then maybe had retired or left the city and we no longer have that information. So we're constantly starting over. This is just helping us to kind of get over this hump with as much development and as much growth as we do have, streamlining, from deferred, not maintenance, but I guess deferred record keeping, moving us into the 21st century, which is where lots of other cities are going to. I mean, we live in the digital era. This is just the next step. So this isn't all of our city that we're mapping, this is only a select area at a discounted rate with a great relationship we have with BHC. And then we also have plans to bring some of that in-house. We have it with our inspection team for new development, they're picking up our GIS for us. So we've done other things, this will not be a reoccurring expense by any means.
Tina, I apologize if I didn't see it in the agenda packet, but do we have a typical schedule timeline for what it takes for them to execute on something like this?
They didn't give me an hourly rate. I could ask them.
No, I understand it's just a fee for service more than an hourly rate thing, but do we, like, is it a 6-month thing or is it year long?
No, I would say, I mean, at a guess, I would say like a couple of weeks.
Oh, okay.
2 to 4 weeks max, if that. Yeah, I mean, like I said, you know, when you do something repetitively every day, you get quicker at it. So,
And
yeah,
is this information that would help the comprehensive planners, is this something that's relevant to them, like when we choose that party, whoever, that firm, this is information that they would have also?
Absolutely. Yes, this would help expedite all development phases.
Okay.
I think it's super important.
And save some money while we're at it, so.
That's why we have reserve funds. So.
And also, I know we had the disaster relief, or I'm not sure the exact title of the training that you guys went to, but in the case of an emergency, we can isolate a control room and we have all of our assets in one place. So we can communicate that to a whole, you know, if we were to have like a Red Cross team or a disaster relief team come in at some kind of, you know, if we had an F5 hurricane or something, where we need to shut off valves, where we need to, you know, isolate, etc.
We'll be coming with water and stormwater, probably looking at next fiscal year budget, or maybe even the one after, but the end game is that everything that's currently unmapped needs to be digitally mapped, primarily for the reason that Tina just mentioned, which is emergency response, but lots of other value obviously as well.
I'm good with it. I just think, you know, it's January, so it's kind of like maybe we get 2 or 3 more of these not in the budget things.
Yeah, we gotta pay attention.
Gotta pay attention to it. But it's, I mean,
We're saving money on this one.
Yeah, we get a coupon at this one.
I know someone that tells me that all the time. So I'm sleeping in the garage again.
Used to tell me that.
You were so close, George. We were gonna tell you how wonderful you were.
Well, you know, I blew it, so anyway. I'll entertain a motion to approve this.
I make a motion to approve the work order with BHC and allow city staff to execute any related documents.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
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 Motion carries 5-0. Thank you, thank you. Okay, who's batting on this one?
I'm gonna bat here, but
Careful.
I may need a substitution, so probably give it like a 2-1 count or
Oh.
something here.
Call in the bullpen.
Okay. This is in regard to the water looping project. So we're going to be investing about $6 million into our water distribution utility here pretty soon. We're hoping to have a shovel in the ground in March. Harlan and Jason, as well as Ryan Peck and many others, been working really hard to get this project shovel ready. You'd be surprised in regard to the amount of logistics it takes to get a project like this ready to actually get into construction. So one important aspect is obviously that we have the right to put the pipe in the ground in the places where it needs to go. And so there's over a dozen properties where we needed to get, I think about that number, where we needed to get some water utility easement, for ourselves for this project. And we've gotten probably 3 or 4 of those that have been signed over to us thus far. There's a list in the agenda packet for the ones that have not been signed over. No one has flat out told us no. It's just a challenge when you have property owners who live out of town, you have property that's in a trust, you have maybe 5 people with interest in the same property. So at some point, even some of these property owners have flat out told us, yes, we're going to sign it. They just haven't put the pen to paper and sent it to us in the mail yet. With the project starting construction in the spring, we need to get going with the process of eminent domain. That way we can begin this project on time and keep it on schedule. So I would anticipate that with starting the eminent domain, we will have several of these that we'll sign, and we'll just remove them from the process. So what this looks like is tonight you'll consider approving a resolution. On the 20th of January, during that council meeting, you will consider adopting an ordinance. And then I believe a period of time needs to elapse after the ordinance is passed before the city attorney can file a petition, which would then take us to the part of the process where there'll be a court-appointed appraiser, and there'll be an appraisal process that occurs. So a value can be placed on these easements that the city will be acquiring. And then once that happens, we will purchase those easements, such as we have the ones that have been signed over to us, utilizing the temporary note that is funding the water looping project. If you remember looking at those budgetary documents several months ago, there's a line item for easement acquisition for each of the individual projects within the water looping project as a whole. So that is the basis of this agenda item. I'm going to go all the way to the recommendation. Ryan, if you had anything to add, please feel free to, and with that, we can take any questions as well.
Pretty standard stuff.
Craig, I might just add too for the benefit of the council. This is not actually acquiring their property. The property owners will still own the property, but we're just asking for an easement across their property to install the water line.
None of these are going under anyone's house. Most of them are pretty close to the road right away. Harlan's done a really good job of avoiding those high value hedgerows that people like to screen their properties from the road and the traffic and those types of things. So we do make an effort to try to accommodate those types of things, and then once the project occurs, it's our obligation to restore the property back to its previous state. Sometimes that means hydroseeding or sod or landscaping, replanting some vegetation or what have you. I don't know that we have any fences we need to deal with, or I don't know that we're relocating any other private utilities in any of these instances. So as City Attorney Ryan Peck shared, pretty standard stuff with this one.
Any more comments, questions?
I'll just add, I did ask Craig about that, and I appreciate you being transparent that we're not going across anybody's property in a way that will hinder taking down any houses or garages or anything major structures. So thank you for that.
Knowing that you're putting it back together, the way you guys found it, but also I had asked the question about if this could be negative for their property value in any way. Can you share just kind of what we talked about there and the benefit for them potentially in the future?
Yeah, I think in many instances, perhaps not all, having the utility in their front yard right away or along their property would add value to their property, because if they sell it in the future, it would be more turnkey to connect into those city utilities. So there could be some one-off circumstances where maybe someone had a really unique use that they wanted for their property where it could cause a concern, but I think those would be very few and far between, and I can't even think of when that might be a circumstance. So most often I would say it would add value, yes.
One thing I would note, is typical with eminent domain, they're entitled to just compensation for the rights that they would be losing by giving up this easement to the city. Now, these aren't the type of easements that typically have a significant impact or a negative impact on the value of the property, and I don't think any of the design is such that it would impact their ability to really develop or use the property in any significant way. But they will be entitled to compensation for the easements. If it were to go all the way to an appraisal panel, the panel typically looks at the value of the property before the taking and the value of the property after the taking, and the difference is the just compensation that would be paid to the property owners. So we don't just get to take it, we have to pay for it, and an independent panel of 3 appraisers determines what that just compensation is. So.
Always a process.
There's always a process.
Any other questions or good questions? I'll entertain a motion to approve this then.
Make a motion to adopt the resolution declaring the necessity to acquire easements by eminent domain for the water looping project and direct the city engineer and city attorney to take action required to proceed with the project in accordance with state law.
Second.
Okay. Yeah,
Sorry.
we're good. You know, we made the motion, Krista seconds, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. It's like an umpire breaking a tie. Thank you, Craig. Which means you're on to the city attorney.
Let's talk about litigation. Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Honorable Council. Ryan Peck with Morris Lang, also your city attorney. I am here to talk about PFAS litigation. PFAS is an acronym. Don't ask me to pronounce the scientific name, but it's an acronym that refers to a group of about 14,000 different man-made chemicals that are found in all sorts of everyday products that we use. Oftentimes it's found in foam sprays that are used in firefighting. So the city was approached here in the last couple of months by a couple of law firms who are participating in a series of class action lawsuits that have been filed all across the country. Many of those lawsuits have been consolidated into a single, what we call multi-district litigation process that is occurring out in South Carolina in federal court. There have been a number of settlements that have already been agreed upon by the manufacturers of these PFAS, or these products that include PFAS. 3M, DuPont, other big name manufacturers that we've all heard of. The city was identified as possibly being eligible to file a claim in these settlements. These settlements are targeted at municipalities' public water supply systems. And it's targeted at systems where there may be the presence of these PFAS chemicals in the water supply. At this point, we haven't done any testing. That would be part of the process that these law firms would undertake as an initial step to determine whether we're even eligible to make a claim. And then if we are, then we would submit a claim, and the amount of any recovery would be largely determined by the volume of PFAS in our water supply, flow rates, other factors that are way above my pay grade. And so what we are proposing to the council is that we engage these two firms. Stagg Louisa is a law firm that specializes in environmental litigation. They're located in New Orleans. They were heavily involved in a lot of the Deepwater Horizon litigation that stemmed from that, and the environmental contaminations cases that arose from that. They have partnered with Perry and Trent, which is a Kansas-based law firm up in Bonner Springs. They're serving as Stagg Louisa's local counsel here in Kansas. We are proposing that we retain them. It would be on a strictly contingent fee basis. If there is no recovery, either by settlement, by trial, then there's no attorney's fees to be paid. Any expenses arising from both the testing and from the litigation are paid for and advanced by the lawyers. And those expenses typically will come off out of any settlement or recovery. But if there is no recovery, there's nothing to reimburse them for. They take all of the risk on the front end associated with that. So the proposal is for 33% contingent fee arrangement. That is a pretty typical amount. You oftentimes see contingent fee amounts ranging from 1/3 to 40%, sometimes lower than that, sometimes higher than that, just depends on the circumstances, how much money is involved, how much expense the lawyers are going to incur, probability of recovery, so on and so forth. So that is what we are proposing to this to the city council tonight. Do you have any questions for me at this time?
I think on this one I do.
Okay. Well, and you know, we don't even know at this point whether the city is going to be eligible to make a claim. The first step is to engage these guys. They will then get with Jason to get the sampling conducted, so we can send samples off to the lab to determine, are we even eligible to file a claim? And then if we are, they will represent the city in going through that process and hopefully recovering some money. Nothing we do tonight, you know, commits the city to having to do anything with regard to any funds that may be recovered. That would be decided at a much later date, so.
I am curious if you know, is the settlement because the stuff in the water causes damage to public works stuff, or?
No, the PFAS chemicals are associated with health concerns, cancer causing, thyroid issues. They are fairly common chemicals that are frequently found in water supplies all over the place. And they are chemicals that have been relied upon and used for, I think, decades. But here within the last 5 to 10 years, I think that there's been greater discussion and research into it. And the EPA has taken a much closer look at it, and I think there's greater concern about that. But, you know, we don't want to scare anybody. I mean, our situation isn't any different than any other city. And these manufacturers are being held to account for the products that they have manufactured. Last I saw, I think the amount of the agreed upon settlements, at least thus far, $14–15 billion from, I think that's just 3M and DuPont, and there may be others out there.
So basically, in reality, we're just getting in line in case there's a potential that
Absolutely.
there's
And
funds available for
right.
the damage that we don't have, or that we know of yet.
And I guess best case, at least we start testing it to see.
Best case scenario, we run the testing, there isn't anything there, but likewise, we wouldn't be able to make a claim. But if there is, we might as well get in line and get our share of the recovery.
This is similar to what we experienced with the opioid settlements that have been occurring over the last several years. Maybe you guys aren't aware, but municipalities that decided to opt in to those class action lawsuits have received significant amount of payments from various pharmaceutical companies over the last many years. So, as has been stated, if we're opting in to be a part of this, if there is an issue, then we will be able to recover and get some funding to fix it. We have no reason to have cause for concern at this point, but if the more detailed sampling occurs and we do need to spend some money to rehabilitate, we'll be able to spend money from the settlement.
The alternative is we choose not to participate in the settlement, something comes to light, then we've got to go about it on our own. We would certainly have the right to file a lawsuit at that point in time, but then we are undertaking that battle on our own without the benefit of, hundreds or thousands of municipalities from across the country participating and in part sharing that expense. So.
I think we're not really out anything here, so.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve this then.
I'll make a recommendation to adopt the resolution authorizing the city administrator to execute the engagement agreement with Stagg Louisa LLC and Perry and Trent LLC for representation related to PFAS litigation.
We have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second? I'll second that. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you, I appreciate it. City Administrator's report. On the downhill slide.
Honorable Mayor and City Council, it's my pleasure to provide a brief update on the city's operations projects and future agenda items. Quick note, our next council meeting is not on a Monday, it's on a Tuesday, January 20th, 2026 at 7 p.m. We will be closed in recognition of, I believe, Martin Luther King Jr. Federal holiday on that Monday. So I spoke about SCAC a little bit earlier. The first SCAC meeting of the year is January 10th. It's in Bel Air. The address is there. I hope that some of you will consider attending. You may have seen that there is a dry spot there on the opposite side of the stormwater area near Trails End on 23rd Street. So I think the contractor has got to be getting close to wrapping up over there, kind of daylighting that area to the south so water will drain appropriately out of that area. So where it's supposed to go. Yes. And the hope and the goal there, I should say a goal more than a hope, is that we don't perpetually have a standing water there, which is unsightly and to some degree a health nuisance when you consider the bugs and stuff that kind of habitate over that. The Goddard Galleria project doesn't seem like a lot's happening from US 54, but if you've been on 183rd, you've probably seen a lot of action over there. 39 of 100 working days have elapsed. They've done a lot of water line installation, more to come. They're continuing with earthwork. Not seeing a lot of work so far over the stormwater drainage near the high pressure gas pipelines over there, but Harlan informed me today that they should be kicking that off in the next couple of weeks, and they're already starting some rough grading for the road bed. And I remind that that project is financed in part by $2.1 million in state aid and a couple $100,000 of local match. The bill is at Pleasant Ridge Creek. 21 of 120 working days have elapsed. They've been dealing with some groundwater challenges over there, and you've probably noticed, although there hasn't been any rain, that there's been perpetual appearance of water in that area, and it's from the dewatering efforts that are required to get the force main into the Elk Ridge lift station there. So that's been quite an effort, and hopefully they'll get through that part soon so they can start on some other aspects of the project. 3rd Street construction. I expect, based on the update I received today from my colleague, that they will be completing the asphalt this week. So hopefully this time next week we're all driving on that road and we're just working through a punch list item to finish things up. So what happened with that project, just to help folks understand, because I can get why it's extremely frustrating to see a road that's just been sitting and not no people out there working, but we have these working days that are in the contract, and in this example, the contractor got off to a really hot start, had some good weather, got really far along quickly, and they knew they had a lot of working days budgeted within the contract remaining, and so they were able to go work on some other projects, because City of Goddard is not the only place that they do work, and it's their prerogative to be able to do that. So, and we were also pretty flexible with them because they were patient with us as we were finishing up our water line relocation project as well. So they should be done at the end of the week, weather permitting, and hopefully we're driving on the new asphalt next week. The Public Works Facility project, you guys will see that final plat January 20th. We should have that construction services agreement from Hutton to you guys here pretty quickly. We still are on a concurrent parallel path on the Public Works Facility, the water looping, and the North Park project. You'll see the ordinance as mentioned earlier for the condemnation on the water looping project on the 20th. I would hope that at some point here into February we are requesting council to provide staff authorization to advertise this project for bid. Bridger Maple Phase 2, 51 of 165 working days elapsed. You can see in my detailed narrative there that they're continuing to advance the myriad of public infrastructure items within that project. Still cranking through our McGrath Human Resources work. They are continuing to finalize the new work chart and the HR audit. We have some meetings on that coming up over the next week. North Park, I do anticipate a request to advertise that project for bid in late February. We will have a groundbreaking ceremony in March. We were talking, we may need to get some hard hats because there's going to be a lot of groundbreaking, and those are really nice photo ops for the council and others. The SCADA system, they'll be working on the water tower. They've already got a lot of that project completed. Meese began work on the water line today over at Hawkins Lane. That should go relatively quickly. Then they'll be into the other aspects of that project. Pearson's the GC on that one. The Goddard Main Street Steering Committee is meeting on the second Monday of each month at noon here at City Hall. We're continuing through that work plan. The LED lighting upgrades, I have to give a shout out to my colleague, our citizen Amanda Treadwell, who made us aware of this opportunity, but we've been able to transition several of the lights, pretty much all the lights within City Hall and the library to LED. We're anticipating a cost savings. We got the lights for free. We were able to do this at no cost at all because we had the staff who could make those installations for us. So pretty excited about that, and thanks to Amanda and our Public Works team who were there to make it happen. Some of these vacancies have been discussed already, but we've got one on the Senior Citizens Advisory Board. So far we only have one applicant. Then we also have the kitchen coordinator, which is going to be a part-time role for the senior meals program. You can see the hours and the wage range there. And then there are several upcoming agenda items for your perusal. I would like to welcome up our Deputy City Administrator Ryan Schrack to give a brief update on the senior meals program. And with that, I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Well, Ryan, I appreciate you doing this. There's been a lot of moving parts over there in the last 3 or 4 weeks. I thought it
Yes,
might be a good
you're
idea to
welcome.
let you
You're quite welcome.
expound on this.
First, a shout out to Ella Hawk, our Senior Center Director, as well as Karen and Amanda and others on the Senior Citizens Advisory Board and other volunteers. Without them, none of this, as we're transitioning, would be possible. So just to provide a brief recap to everyone, the new contract between the Central Plains Area Agency on Aging, which is another government acronym, CPAAA. CPAAA administers the senior meals program. They receive the federal funds for a 3-county area and have signed a contract with Trio, which is the new third-party meals provider. Trio is in the process of setting up their new commercial kitchen to deliver the meals. But for now, meals from Trio and CPAAA, there will be frozen meals delivered on the following dates: January 6th, which is tomorrow, January 12th, and January 15th. Those frozen meals are going to be for both the congregate and the Meals on Wheels, or the homebound meals. And again, thanks to the volunteers that help deliver those on a regular basis. But those are going to be delivered on those 3 dates, with the plan that Trio will actually start delivering regular meals on January 20th. So again, since January 19th is a federal holiday, that will start on January 20th. But again, that is where we stand right now. As Craig had shared, we are looking at hiring a part-time senior meals kitchen coordinator. That person will help file the paperwork as well as make the meal reservations with Trio for how many people need homebound meals, for how many people to plan for the congregate meals. And so they'll coordinate that work, and then of course work with the volunteers on delivery and then distribution of those meals as well. And so the mayor's correct, there are a lot of moving parts right now, but I'm very grateful for CPAAA. They have been pretty transparent in this process of updating us with regular communications on the new contract with Trio, when deliveries are going to take place. So we are chugging right along at this point, and looking forward to being able to continue this very valuable service to our senior residents here in the community. Stand for any questions you might have about where we are. But again, meals are going to be delivered and distributed from CPAAA and Trio on January 6th, 12th, and the 15th, to hold over until a regular meal service will commence on January 20th by Trio.
Got it covered.
Okay, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yep.
Comments from the the dais, the desk. I usually start with ladies first to the right. So now I'm all confused because Corey's sitting over there. And since this is his first meeting, I'm gonna do what I've always done and start at the right. Corey?
Thanks for that. I don't have a lot of comments, but just thank you for those citizen comments and bringing to light the Time Sentinel paper concerns and the senior concerns there. Also, I just appreciate a good conversation around the comp plan and selecting one of those two firms to go forward with. Look forward to seeing who we select and working with them. Also, I did want to shout out to Stephanie and Alan for finding that grant and working through that. I think that's really beneficial. And you don't see a lot of people these days taking initiative. So anytime I hear that word with anybody's name, I have a strong appreciation for that. So I think that's all I have. Thank you, everyone.
So yeah, good conversation tonight. It was nice to be able to kind of talk through those, you know, seconds and middles. Thank you to Paul for coming in and just kind of talking about the Time Sentinel, and you know, for noting and just working closely with Craig on, you know, cutting a deal and kind of being able to help keep those city costs down. And Linda for kind of sharing her opinion on that and just making sure that we understood how important putting that in the Time Sentinel is for the seniors. I just wanted to thank Tim Caldwell for bringing the fire hydrant to our attention, and hopefully we get that, you know, fixed soon. And Amanda for touching on the comp plan. I would share the sentiment that I think the community engagement piece is very important, while also sharing the sentiment that it's going to take a village, and I think we have a really good community who is very community driven, and so just making sure that we're all showing up to the table to get that done. And then congratulations to Terry on her renewal term for the Senior Center, and Pam for Volunteer of the Year. I know that, you know, putting in a lot of your extra time for nothing in return but smiles and handshakes and the things that you see from other people. It takes a lot of work, and so it takes a very special person to do all those things. And then congratulations to Nick for his Assistant Public Works Director promotion, and George for his Foreman promotion.
Anything else?
Is that
I'm just making sure. Some people move down the line here.
I echo all of Amanda's sentiments with regard to the well-deserved accolades for Nick and George. Jason, you're building a strong team. I'm grateful that there were teammates that were already strong for you to come in and work with, and I just appreciate the efforts you're making with them. Same with Brooke, also obviously building a strong team for our city and our community. So I'd also like to thank Housel, Levine, and Olson for submitting new proposals and just for the information that those proposals brought to us. I appreciate their expertise and their patience as we work through this process to figure out who will be the best firm for our city going forward.
Oh, being last, man, everybody said all the things, so I won't repeat it all. But man, what a fun meeting this has been. I love, like, when we get to recognize people and promote people, and we just came off of a 2-day sabbatical that all of our wonderful city staff put together for us to do a bunch of great training. It was a great 2 days getting to know each other and kind of figuring out each other, and so we had a great time. But I will say, one of the things that I just continue to notice as every staff that's here came in and talked with us and gave us training is that it's just a different feeling around here, and it's so great. Leadership and good leadership. It is hard to find this much good leaders, and I tell you what, everybody that spoke to us that just loves this city, and all the staff, like, I just thank you so much for putting on that 2-day sabbatical for us, and just being the professionals that you are, and emphasizing leadership and excellence in all that you do. Like, I really appreciate that. So it's just been a great meeting tonight. Thank you guys.
And thanks, Amanda.
Always Amanda.
For your efforts in our community, but also for saving the city some money with the lights. That's pretty
Yeah.
awesome.
There is one other thing. I would just like to add to thank Sheila Grace for her 1 year of service on the senior center committee. I mean, she moved here a couple years ago from Dodge City. She and her husband have been involved in the senior center and involved in the community, and her willingness to share her input with having some experience in the senior center in Dodge City was valuable to get that input. Thank you to Amanda for basically creating a welcome center in downtown Goddard. I remember it's been about a year and a half ago, and you talked about doing that, and it's just been neat to watch you progress through that and everything that's happened. But congratulations on that. I hope you can find some time to actually sell real estate. So. That too. Take a vacation. That's always on the list. The other thing I want to just briefly touch on, here in the next 2 or 3 weeks, we're going to do a financial, Brooke and I will probably do a financial update, kind of reviewing last year's financials, reviewing the budget. I just want people to be perfectly clear and understand that the plan we put in place, this next year we'll be saving additional funds, and over the next 4 years we'll save almost $7 million and put back to pay for some of these projects. So we're just not flying blind through the night, as we experienced this evening, it's real easy to chip away and spend things above our budget. And I'm not saying anything negative about what we did, but I just think we need to be cautious in terms of watching the budget and those savings numbers that are in those projections and make sure year over year we hit those. We are in really great shape financially. The growth in the city has increased revenues, we've raised fees, and there's a whole laundry list of things where we've cut expenses. I know there's somebody in the audience that said we needed to find a scalpel and cut as deep as we can. And you know, I think we've done that with, I think, things like the newspaper, but just a lot of changing out lights and saving, you know, $8,000 or $9,000 a year. So we've raised fees on developments, we've cut expenses where we can, our community's growing, which means our valuation is going up. Additional businesses are moving in our community and our sales tax is increasing. All those metrics of revenue off of this year's budget will have exceeded projections. So it's important that people know that our CFO is watching the pennies, and we get down to the end of the next 3 or 4 years, we'll pay for some of these things, and our cash flow won't be severely damaged. Actually, I mean, then we go on to the next step. But we've taken a big step, did 3 projects at once, but I'm confident that the way the budget is set up and the finances, that we're in great shape financially. So, with that, I'll make a motion to close the meeting. It's second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. We're adjourned. Thank you all. Congratulations. Make it to your first meeting.